Don't forget to subscribe or Momoshiki's gonna kill Naruto.
Alright, so Boruto chapter 54. I know last week we made some speculations on what would be happening in this chapter. We mainly thought that we would have something like Sasuke versus Momoshiki. They would have a cool little exchange. That's not really what we got in this chapter. So basically, it does start off the chapter confirming that Sasuke did indeed lose his Rinnegan. He cannot use it at the moment. That doesn't mean he's not going to get it back later, because obviously he's one of the main protagonists. They call him like the Shadow Hokage or something like that. He's going to get some way or another get his dojutsu back, or even another Sharingan by like Amato, or like I mentioned in the last video. There's a lot of things that they could do, especially with the Hidden Leaf Village and Hashirama cells. You could probably get his arm back as well, much like Naruto. I have a feeling he's gonna get his dojutsu back. I wouldn't worry about that too much. They just needed something to block his space-time ninjutsu for this chapter, so that's what they basically did. Momoshiki just opens up by exclaiming that he blocked his space-time ninjutsu. We see Naruto alive, kind of interacting on what's going on. So we know that he's not dead yet. So he basically mentions saying that this is the second time he has emerged. And the interesting thing is that Kawaki is actually the one to engage mainly in the fight with him. He's trying to like snap Boruto out of it. He uses Piccolo no Jutsu, and it doesn't really do too much. And he immediately gets blitzed right afterwards. So that kind of sucked. Sasuke is kind of watching. He decides to take over for a second. Borushiki, I guess you could say, basically says that he wants to do exactly what Ishiki was doing, but with Kawaki instead of Boruto, right? He wants to, since Kawaki is 80% Otsutsuki, he wants to turn him into a nice fruit and just eat him or yeet him into the stomach of the Ten Tails. He basically wants to make him the sacrifice for the divine tree, right? He said he's going to be small, but he might yield some decent fruit. Naruto proceeds to pass out, so we don't know if the effects of Berry-Emoto are catching up to him. I don't think this is going to be the end of him. There's no way that they would make the protagonist of the series, for the most part, I guess, protagonist for like many years in the past two series. There's no way they're going to kill him out, just kill him off just like that. It'd be a little bit more emotional than this. And obviously, if you know, at the beginning of the series, you see that Kawaki seems like he says that he's gonna send Boruto where he sent Naruto, like the 7th, implying that he's evil, but there's a little bit of some deeper connotations there that we can go on to on who's really the bad guy. It's implied that Naruto's dead in the future because of something that Kawaki or maybe Boruto did. No, actually, I don't really see it, because he was fighting Ishiki when he activated Baryon mode, so I feel like Naruto's gonna recover from this eventually. Anyway, Sasuke interferes. Momoshiki's basically like, you wouldn't kill me because I'm your student, and he says, yes I will because I'm his teacher, and uses a Madarasu on him. You can see he's kind of upset about it, but it's immediately countered by a clone, and then he uses Fireball Jutsu, and he dodges it, and he's like, I'm out of chakra, which is almost a meme at this point. He notices that Momoshiki's not absorbing any jutsus, even though he can, obviously, because of the Rinnegan abilities that he has, and the Jogan allows Boruto to gain access to the Otsutsuki clan's abilities. I have a video on that if you guys want to check it out. And essentially, we see Naruto lose consciousness. Essentially, as this is happening, Sasuke kind of notices that in a series of long panels that the reason why Momoshiki's not really absorbing any chakra attacks is because that's going to refill Boruto's chakra as well, and that's going to wake him up, which makes it so he can gain consciousness, which makes it harder for him to actually possess him. Immediately after Sasuke is hit with a Vanishing Rasengan and is temporarily put out of commission. Poor guy. So Kawaki has the genius idea to just kind of self-destruct without actually killing himself, thus forever tarnishing the term self-destruct, as it basically just made a small fire that Momoshiki had absorbed. Boruto ends up waking up, then he absorbs more of Kawaki's chakra in order for him to strengthen his consciousness. He breaks off that annoying horn that's poking out of his head that somehow leads to Momoshiki. Then he collapses. And we see a very touching moment with Kawaki and Boruto as he said sorry to be in trouble, and he said, back at you, stupid bro. Now it sounds a little bit weird to say, back at you, stupid bro, but it's more of a translation error, I guess you could say. The idea is there. They're kind of bonding, which is gonna make just the downfall of their friendship or brothership, I guess you could say, later on just more touching. And then the chapter closes off with Naruto on the ground. So now that this whole Momoshiki's through for now, we're gonna see the impacts on what happened with Naruto. Now I think I'm gonna make a separate video on what we think is gonna happen in chapter 55 with Naruto and Sasuke, because it seems like they've both been actually debuffed right now, but in the meantime it seems like he is alive. They would have given us a more touching moment with him, or at least shown it a little bit more and emphasized the fact that he was dying. Doesn't look like anybody's. Sasuke looks at him and he's like, no way. So I'm assuming that he's gonna survive. I'm gonna be very upset if he dies. This would be a very bad way to kill off a character. Anyways, that's the end of the chapter. If you guys like more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.